Live, going live, going live. Okay, hello, apparently I'm live. It's been a while since I've done one of these, hasn't it? Obviously with this one, it's going to be talking a bit over my thoughts about Flux heading into episode 5. I also just wanted to do something to commemorate the fact that the channel has just hit 9,000 subscribers at the time I'm streaming this, which is wild. Thank you all so much for that. Genuinely means a lot. We might actually make it to 10k at this rate. Maybe. I don't know. There's still a bit of way to go, but I'm hoping. Fingers crossed. I'm genuinely hoping it's possible. But yeah, this stream's just going to be about talking about Flux things, I guess, and why. Going into this episode, I'm feeling relatively apathetic towards the whole thing. I'm not excited. I'm not worried. I'm just sort of bleh. Coming into the first episode, I won't lie, I was a bit excited. It was. I tell you what, it's kind of like when you start school, and it's like your first day, you're really excited, but slowly as the weeks go on, apathy sorts of sets in, and you realise you're still in school. You know what I mean? Like first day at a new school type thing. That's kind of what I felt with Doctor Who Flux in terms of my overall sort of feelings and enjoyment of it, where first episode I was like, oh right, we're finally getting some new Doctor Who, even if it's not, an era that I'm particularly in love with. We're getting some new Doctor Who stuff that's going to be happening. Great. At least there's something happening. So I went into Halloween Apocalypse feeling kind of hyped up and stuff. And now we're going into the fifth one, and I am just. It's kind of one of those things, because I don't know how many of you saw my my reaction to Once Upon a Time specifically, but that's when the apathy towards Flux really started to set in for me. It just felt like more of the same, and Village of the Angels, I'm not gonna lie, I still don't understand the hype for. Granted, I haven't rewatched it, but I still don't quite understand it. I wish I did. This is the thing. I despite my Twitter musings, I don't know how many people know me from Twitter and how many people know me from here, or have just joined here from the Twitter or have joined through a different place. But despite all I say on there, I never want to go into a Doctor Who episode feeling just towards it. I want to go into it maybe feeling almost feeling nervous or feeling excited, but it's just there's none of that anymore. I feel kind of numb to the whole experience, and I wish I didn't, but I do, and I think it's, I don't know, yeah, it's a whole thing. Atomize says Flux has probably now peaked after episode 1, but I would love to be proved wrong. Episode 4, you mean? Yeah, just joined from Twitter. Well, thank you very much. Welcome to the Tharies train, all aboard and all that. To be fair, I still stand by the fact. I don't get the hype for episode 4. I'm sorry, I just don't get it. Maybe I need to give it another rewatch. I just don't. Main protagonist Ivy says, I'm not apathetic in the least, but I am starting to feel worried that the finale, for the finale and how different things will be wrapped up. That's one of the main reasons I'm feeling apathetic, to be honest, actually, is because of how much has been set up and my concern that barely any of it is going to get paid off well. And it's the fact that we're already starting to see people make excuses for a finale that's not even out yet by saying things like, oh, well, the specials might do something, with it. It's at a certain point, you've got to stop making excuses and expect there to be some form of answers. You know what I mean? There has to be some point where we can expect some answers. And I feel if not a finale to a series that was advertised as this big connected, one story thing, then when can we expect them? Do you know what I mean? Why apathetic? I don't know, it feels like more of the same. I just don't really feel hyped. I wish I did. And it's hard to put into words exactly. I don't know. I don't even feel I don't even feel excited to watch it, to talk about it particularly. I'm sort of, maybe part of it's just the community that's making me feel like that as well, because I feel you can't say anything about Flux that's even remotely critical without someone just instantly taking it as one way or the other. And granted, I'll concede, on Twitter in particular, I do play up to that. But like at the end of the day, it's just a TV show. I just don't get why people gotta be so. Why you gotta be so defensive? You know what I mean? I'm super excited for this episode, but I can really get why it's not everyone's. That's just gone away for me. I completely understand why not everyone's not hyped. The way the show is at the moment is very acid trip friendly though, so maybe I'm biased. Fair enough. I guess that's the thing. It's almost like I feel nothing towards it, and I wish, like, it's almost like there's nothing tangible for me to grab onto, and I wish there was. Darius has an opinion, bro. That's too far. Yeah, pretty much. That summarizes my Twitter now through forever, or even when it started through forever, and maybe my YouTube to a certain degree. Because I honestly because obviously I had a feeling that Village of the Angels was going to be like the highest regarded, regardless of what I thought of it, just by the fact that it's the first Weeping Angel story in 12 years, and I knew a lot of people didn't like Angels Take Manhattan, so basically everyone was going to see it as an immediate improvement upon that. And I kind of knew, and as well with like Maxine Alderton writing it, and Maxine Alderton being one of the more praised writers for Doctor Who in this era, I had a feeling that this one was going to be seen as really good. But I didn't expect just the amount of people who told me to stop watching the show because I didn't really care for it. Like, that was really weird. It's the first time that's really happened to me to that degree. Like, I've had people tell me to stop watching the show before, but never to such a degree. And on YouTube in particular, like, I'm used to it on Twitter, but not so much on YouTube, I guess. I'm just curious to see how they're taking the show. Don't get me wrong, I am interested to, I'm not going to lie, it's not as if I'm completely uninterested. Like, to a certain degree, I do want to see where it goes. But I don't know, it's just not, like, I know a lot of people who, like, they count down the days to each episode. I can't lie, when someone mentioned to me that it was on today, yesterday, so they were like, oh, it's on tomorrow, I was almost like, oh yeah, which was weird, because I'm never like that. Especially considering that it's kind of like a semi-job to me now, to a degree. Like, I should feel more hyped when an episode's coming on, and I just don't. And I'm starting to wonder, is it a me problem? Am I at fault? Or is it just the show is not... I don't know. Don't get me wrong, I don't expect all the answers, but I think it is reasonable at the finale of an end of a serialized story to expect some. I absolutely do think that. And I think, because I've seen someone in there bringing up like a comparison to Legopolis, I think it is. I've been watching a lot of classic Who serials recently, and I've seen a lot of the comparisons people have made between those and Flux, and basically say, well, people don't ask for resolutions to things in the first episodes of classic serials, so why is this being treated any differently? And my only real answer to that would be, in classic Who, they didn't introduce like 15 new things in like each episode. You had a setting, they established the characters, and the conflict was built from there. At least in the 60s stories, like that's what I've been watching a lot of recently. They didn't go like, it's kind of like watching the Romans, and then all of a sudden, bam, the Daleks pop up, bam, there's this thing. Oh, what's that over there? It's a sensor, right? It's just, like, it's a different approach to serialized storytelling, and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but I'm saying that I find the comparisons to classic Who weird because it's so different. Like, it's serialized, but that's about where the similarity ends in my book. I don't consider it like the same thing even slightly. So to see people like sort of considering it the same thing, I find really odd, or comparing it as if they're the same, I find really strange. There's nothing tangible because of the structure. The Bell story just cutting in episode 3 and 4 really ruins the pace. Exactly. That's exactly how I felt about episode 4 in particular. It killed the pacing of that episode for me. And it stops episode 3 being as fleshed out as it should be. Darius, I've just paid attention to the shelves behind you. Pretty poggers. Thank you. I'm slowly getting more stuff up on the shelves, and you guys can't see it, but over that side, I'll probably like show it in more videos where I get like more dynamic camera angles. But there's now a Tharies mural that my dad did. It's like a banner. It's really cool. It's on my wall now, and I'm slowly getting more figures up this side. I've got a whole row of Cybermen with the Cyber controller in the seat in the middle. I'm very proud. Once I've got it all set up, I'll probably do like a collection tour. Once I've got some DVDs in here as well. If that's something you guys would be interested in watching. But yeah. No, I forgot to watch it live last week. Yeah, I've not forgotten to watch it yet. I guess because I know that it's it's part of my thing, and I do enjoy like talking about it to you guys. But I guess it's just I did forget that it was on tonight until someone reminded me last night. I'm going to be honest. I am curious though to see whether anyone agrees with me on that comparison between classic and new Who and why it's not the same thing. Like, I think that you can kind of undermine your own hype and enjoyment with when you begin to think of your responses and creations in regards to the show as your job or obligation. I don't consider it an obligation as such. I think I worded that wrong. I think it's more just what I struggle with Doctor Who. I think it is more so just I do dread whatever opinion I have of an episode to a degree, because I'm just worried of just the vitriolic response. And people have said just stop saying your opinions on Twitter, but like when it starts happening on YouTube as well, it's like I don't feel like I should have to stop saying them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's a whole thing. I don't see it as an obligation. I think it's just more so the show itself is starting to feel more an obligation more than me talking about it. Because I still do enjoy talking about it, but the act of watching the show itself isn't as exciting. I don't know. It's all over the place. It's hard for me to really understand what it is. I'd love to be able to say, this is why I'm not excited. Flux is completely different to Classic Who. Each episode of Flux sets up a different conflict and resolves it each episode. It's most comparable to each story in Trial of a Time Lord. Yeah, I'd agree. But even with Trial of a Time Lord, I felt that paced itself better. Because you had like three main plots, which were... God, I'm going to have to try and remember the names of each one. You had Mind Warp, Terror of the Vervoids, and... What's the last one? I always forget the last one. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, like that. Even then, though, like it was only like three main plots, and they were tied into this whole trial thing. So I felt that was a lot more easy to follow. Whereas with this, it's like here's a new plot every episode, and here's subplots and extra characters, and woo. Are you going to show your reaction live? I won't be reacting to the episode live, mainly due to copyright reasons, but I will be filming my reaction to it and hopefully uploading that, which I tried to do last week with Rebecca, but it got claimed because the BBC do not care about fair use, apparently. So that's fun. Colin McCroy, nice to meet you. Nice to have met you and said hello at the BFI. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I remember meeting you. It was awesome. Looking forward to see what you think of tonight's app. I hope I enjoy it. I genuinely do. I never go into something wanting to not like it. But yeah, thank you. Honestly, again, I'll say now that I've got a couple of people in here, I think I saw at the BFI. If you did come up to me at the BFI, thank you so much. Made my day. It was wonderful. It's the first time it happened to me. So it was really nice and very wholesome and made me feel very happy. So thank you all to anyone who did that. When we're going to have another Dalek episode, New Year's. New Year's is the next Dalek one. I say that like I'm like an insider. I just know that that's what it is. Like track record and stuff. And also, we've seen it filming and yeah. Problem is that the threat keeps changing in terms of the rules. As in the Flux. Yeah, the Flux itself, that's something that I'm taking issue with. It's like, sometimes it like desecrates entire planets. And sometimes it leaves planets looking dead, but still about. So I'm a bit confused as to the optics of like what the Flux's power actually is. I still don't... Obviously, there's so many questions that are hanging that I'm worried that they're not going to resolve. Like, who's that Aswok woman? What's all this? What is the Flux? What is the Time Force, which is this thing that's being introduced in episode 5? I think it's been alluded to by the Maury as well. What are all these things? And I'm just worried that we're not going to get answers to any of them. I think Davis did a compilation of all the questions that still are about, and there are a lot. There are like 20 questions that still we are announcing, and I understand people saying, "Oh, we're on it. We're going into episode 5. We've still got time." And I'm like, yeah, but you can, as I said, you can only say that for so long before it's like, we're gonna get anything. You know what I mean? If they are doing a lung barrow, it's a lot of info in a short amount of time. True, yeah. I've only read like the first few lines of lung barrow. In like I think someone posted like the full copy of it. I think it might be on like an internet archive or something like that. And I will say they cover a lot of dense ground in like the first few words. It's like, oh my god. Okay. I obviously understand it's a finale to an entire book range, so that kind of makes sense, but still, you know, I kind of hope that's not what happens at the end of Flux. I'm a bit confused as to how the Doctor was turned into an angel now. Yeah, there's also the fact that apparently now, if you think about an angel, and copyright sucks, doesn't it? It absolutely does. So it also confuses me. So in terms of the angels and them coming to life, apparently now all you've got to do is think about the angels for them to like take over your body. So logically now, whenever anyone's thought of the weeping angels, is it logical to suggest that perhaps they could be taken over? So when Rassilon says things like the weeping angels of old, could he not have been taken over by the angels? I did take some issue with how powerful they were made in that story. Let me rephrase that. The angels have always been powerful, and arguably too powerful, since about Series 5. I do love that story, but I do understand the complaints that it makes them too powerful. But I did think that Village did indulge that a bit more than I would have liked, I think. God damn it, you made me think of the angels. Yep, but bye-bye Vortex 257, you are going to get wiped out now. It's just how it works now, I think. Yeah. Also, like, the idea of angels working for people, I'll say this, it's a better way of making the link between the angels and the Time Lords explicit than just making the Weeping Angels dead Time Lords. But I'll say as well, I still think the idea of the Weeping Angels working for people conceptually pretty weird and a bit strange. Like, I understood it, but the way I always thought of the Weeping Angels, I almost saw them as like a pack animal. You know what I mean? That will sort of hunt in packs, and there's like kind of they're almost like a weird distorted family type dynamic. So to see them having like rogue agents and stuff, I don't know. It's just not something I ever expected the Weeping Angels to have. From my understanding of them, I still think it could have been worse though. Like I don't mind that the Time Lords had their Weeping Angel operatives with the Division because, as I said, there's always been an implied link between the two. So I think it's implied that Claire is a sidekick and has abilities which allowed it to happen. Is it? When did they say that? Because like I can't lie, I struggled to understand what was going on. Well, not what was going on, but like if that was said, it must have been said very quickly because I didn't pick up on it. There was also, I'm pretty sure, in that episode in Village of the Angels, there are some scenes where like no one's looking at the angels and they're attacking the house and they don't move, or people are looking at the angels and they still move, and it's like that's the one thing you have to get right. You know what I mean? Why is your door handle different? Is it? I think it's the same. This is the office, so yeah, it's always been like that. Oh, they did say that. Okay, fair enough. I don't remember that, so I apologise. That is a fault on my end. I forgot that line was there. I'll say though, opinions like positive. There are positives to last week's. I like Jericho, and I'm glad. Jodie says that she's a seer, aka clairvoyant. Oh, very good. Okay, fair enough. I'll say, I liked things like Jericho. I liked the setting, and stuff like that. But I just don't get the hype in the same way. She says it really quick. Yeah, that's probably why I missed it. You gotta bear in mind, I've still only watched it once. I might go and watch it again after this stream ends, just to sort of get me in that mood I like that the Doctor's actually in some sort of danger, though. Then again, is the whole angel transformation thing just a way of getting her to the division, or is it going to have lasting consequences? I'd like to believe that, what do you call it? You know, I'd like to believe that the Doctor does stay an angel for longer than just like 5 minutes, and that it actually does have an effect on her, rather than just it being her transport, but I think it probably is just going to be her transport. Plus, I was confused. Wasn't Rory touched by an angel like 3 times? Yeah, that was another thing as well. They added this thing that, like, if an angel touches you twice, you die. And that's never been how they worked before. So that was weird. I know people who didn't even know what the division was. This is exactly it. Like, Flux relies on you not only knowing all the stuff from Series 12, but it also relies on you caring about that stuff. And personally, like, even though I didn't like the Timeless Child Act, the least interesting part of it was the division stuff. At least the fact that the Timeless Child was the Doctor, I could see them doing stuff with. The ancient company that she worked for, well, not company, what's the word I'm looking for? The ancient, I'm trying to think of another word that's not division. The ancient team that she worked for was never the reason that I found that even remotely interesting. So it was weird to me that that's what they decided to focus on more. I don't know. Off topic, but where does the name Tharies originate from? It's the first letter of my first name, Thomas or Tom, and then my surname. So Harry's. So there you go. That's my very boring origin story. I'm happy we finally got to see someone touch an angel while it was still frozen. Always wondered what would happen. When did that happen? Again, I feel like I need to rewatch it. But I feel like they rushed the Doctor story and passed, and it just came out dumb. Yeah. I just feel like the whole division thing was never something I was that interested in. So when like the Flux storyline, or like this series' storyline, I should say, would probably make more sense, because I've got to distinguish the name Flux, as in the name of the series, from the event Flux, as the thing that happens in the series. But like in terms of the story of Doctor Who Flux with the division stuff was never the stuff I was most interested in. So yeah. Oh yes, you are right. Yes, yeah, you are right. Muffled. You are correct. That did happen. The touching things twice thing is not explained properly, but we've never seen anyone zapped back in time twice by an angel. Rory was sent back in time once, and then in space. Okay, cool. Honestly, teasing Unit in the next time trailer was such a cheap move. I heard no discussion about the actual episode. People were just hyped to see the thing they recognise back. That's something I'm worried about, actually, that I wanted to address. I'm really worried that all this episode's going to have to do is shove in Unit and maybe one additional returning character, because Matt Streven said, "Oh, tonight's a big night for Unit fans." And I'm not just talking about Kate Stewart. So people are saying, "Oh, could that mean another like returning character to do with Unit? Could it be someone like Martha Jones?" I get the fear that if all they do with the next episode is just pander to nostalgia and stuff, people are going to rate it as a perfect episode regardless. It's kind of like when with Series 11, like one of the complaints was, where are the old monsters? And then Series 12 comes along and puts some old monsters in, and it was like universally praised as an improvement. Not universally, but like a lot of people praised it as an improvement, when I was just like, it's just the same, but they've put in some old monsters and done a weird series arc. Like, it's not, the quality of it hasn't improved that much. So I'm really worried that all this episode is going to have to do is be like, oh hey, look, it's an Ood. Oh hey, look, it's Unit. And everyone's going to love it. That's kind of what I'm worried about. Because I just think that, for some people, all it takes is to see thing they recognise, and bam, 10 out of 10. I'm just like, ugh. I enjoyed this season because all her other 2 seasons were crap. I'll say it's my favourite one of the 3, but I don't think that's much of an accomplishment, like, because I really don't rate the other two series particularly highly. Um, but I just feel a bit apathetic towards the whole thing at this point. You know, maybe this episode will bring back my hype a bit. It's definitely died down, and I hope it does manage to maintain my hype a little bit. But yeah, I guess I'm enjoying it more than the last two. No, I definitely am enjoying it more than the last two, but I'm still not overly, like, I'm not enamored with it like some people seem to be. I think some people are in a bit of a honeymoon phase with it. Because I found this with Series 12 as well, where everyone like was praising it on Twitter on its broadcast, and then over the months that followed, I think obviously there are still people who loved it, and that's great. But I think its praise did die down over time, and I think that's just what happened with every series: is that when something's the new thing, everyone's saying, "Oh, it's great," or "Oh, it's terrible." And I think, you know, as time progresses, the sort of the heat debates towards it is kind of goes down. I mean, that's what happened with Boris. The episode really isn't good. Listen, I know, I know that it does have the Sontarans in it, and I know nostalgia, but that's not the reason I liked it. The reason I liked War of the Sontarans was because it felt like it focused on an A plot and a B plot. I felt that both plots were decently done for this era. I thought Jodie was stronger in her performance. I thought the Sontarans were done well enough. Yeah, I have my reasons for liking that one. I have no doubt that when Jay comes out with her Flux video, that I'll probably end up being like, oh yeah, I didn't think about it like that. But right now, that's still my favourite one of the four. Ood redesign bad. How the hell does Chibnall make everything he touches look worse? I don't tell much of a difference, to be honest. I know that the eyes are slightly different. I think it's something to do with the fact that Millennium SFX aren't doing the prosthetics anymore, which might explain why they look different, but honestly, I don't know. But yeah, honestly, I find myself just more excited for what comes next and what's happening right now. And I get that that's always the case to some degree, because I remember like when Series 10 was airing, people were excited for, you know, the next era. But I think especially since we know that that RTD is coming back at this point, I'm just sort of waiting for that to happen, you know? And that's horrible. And that's not meant to disrespect anyone who worked on this run of the show or this run of episodes. It's more so just to say that by doing that, like, I was instantly going to be more excited for whatever came next anyway. And I think it's the sort of thing where it's like, it's made, for me at least, this run of episodes feel more like a chore so we can get to the bit that I'm really excited for, which is RTD stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, yeah. The TARDIS getting destroyed in the new special. It's certainly looking that way, isn't it? Looking at the poster. When are we expecting Jodie's regen? Next October. It is the centenary special. We are hungry for 14th. Yeah, quite honestly, like, I do want to know who the 14th Doctor is, because I feel like I need something to just keep me invested in Doctor Who, because, like, this just isn't quite cutting the mustard for me. And, like, we've only got 3 episodes next year. Sure, there's a rumour Donna's coming back. There's always a rumour that Donna's coming back. Do you think the transition between Chibs and RTD will actually be a lot more connected than we think? No, I don't. And the reason I don't is because I don't think that the show in its current form is accessible enough to the point that the RTD would want to make it overly connected, because, like, in terms of, you know, its overall appeal, Flux is very insular. It appeals to a very, very specific niche portion of fans, and that's about it. Like, so I don't think that for a big rebirth of the show, they're going to want to keep that many ties to the era. What do you mean? I already sent the money. Hang on, I'll show you. I already sent the money. Wait, give me a sec. Let me find it. Let me find the money for you. I sent the money already. Look, I sent it. Hang on. To put a link in the chat. There's 91 people watching. Thanks. I wasn't actually expecting anyone to watch this. So cheers. I haven't actually promoted it really. I just tweeted about it and did a community post. So thanks for that. But yeah, I already sent the money. What are you guys going on about? I already did that. We don't talk about the bet I made for 14, alright? Let's keep that on the down low. To BH, I'm glad the series is running with Division stuff. I think I might have done something wrong. Have I gone black for anyone else? I think I'm okay now. I think I might have gone black for a second. Apologies for that. I should be back momentarily, don't you worry. There you go. So I was reading something and it's gone. It's a cool concept. A Time Lord organization that uses the exploits of other species. I really wish it wasn't linked to the Time Child stuff. Fair, but I think the thing with the Division is, like, they don't really focus on the things that would make it cool. Like, they don't really focus on its exploitation of other species. They just kind of go, it was ancient organization that you used to work for. Yeah, that's all we really know about it at this point. Like, we know that, like, it has Weeping Angel operatives now, but that's about it. So what would you like to see from a new companion? Job-wise, age-wise, time zone-wise, someone that's not from someone who's not from 21st century England would be nice. You can have one of them, but like maybe have someone like Nardole to sort of balance it out. Just like, I feel like we need to like sort of be a bit more, what's the word? Not diverse, but like a bit more varied when it comes to like species and sort of characters that we present in Doctor Who series, because like I think people can roll with an alien companion now. I think it's been more than long enough for people to accept that as a thing, and yeah, I think it's about time it happened. Do you think we'll get any answers in this episode? I hope to God we do, otherwise the finale is going to be an absolute mess. I asked my mum, a casual viewer, to tell me what the plot of Flux was, and she couldn't. Yeah, this really isn't like built for the casual viewers at all, which is weird because Series 11 has so much of a focus on that, and it kind of feels like over time you just completely abandoned that idea. It's really weird. Like I kind of feel like if you wanted to tell a big lore-heavy story, then just do that. Like, don't do Series 11, which was so disconnected from everything. It just feels so out of place and weird. I don't know. It feels so wrong. My own headcanon for now is that the Division used Weeping Angels like bioweapons in Resident Evil. Okay, interesting. I like that. Like they maybe capture them and stick them on their enemies or something. I'd like that. Yeah, that'd be cool. Plus, Yaz is still half-dimensional. Half-dimensional? Oh, as in like, oh right, her character. I was trying to see what you meant. I'll say this, Yaz has gotten better. I'm just kind of sad that like all of the development happened off screen. What type of Doctor are you looking for? I mean, personality-wise, I'd like one that's a bit more sarcastic again. And not sarcastic in a mean way, but like, I'm watching a lot of First Doctor recently, as you know, and like, I do kind of love how he can like take the mick out of people, but still be nice. I think someone like that, you know, I think 12 had that to a degree, and I'd like to see a bit of that again. I would like to see someone, maybe follow the Matt Smith archetype again. Maybe someone a bit more. I quite like the whole having like a young face, but like having age beyond your years and stuff like that. I quite like that as a narrative device, but I wouldn't want it to be exactly the same. I quite like trickstery type Doctors, so probably someone like that. So someone like your 7s, your 11s, your 2s, that sort of Doctor would kind of be my ideal for the next one. My mum watched all the Jodie Whittaker episodes once. Last Sunday, she turned to me and asked, "What's the Division?" And I didn't know what to say. Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Because, like, if you are a casual viewer who's just been watching this era, like, you're not guaranteed to, like... Because this is the thing. You know, the Division were introduced in March of 2020. We're in late November of 2021 now. It's a big ask to ask your audience to still know what that is. After a gap this long, and obviously I understand that wasn't the intended gap. COVID did have a part to play, but I think in that case maybe concessions should have been made to accommodate that a bit more. I don't know. It's a weird one. I hope it's an active change. Yeah, honestly, I hope they keep that joke going forever. Like, just never do it. And I know that sounds horrible, but like, I must feel like that's one of the. I feel like if you do it, then it kind of does get rid of the joke. Or if you do it, I kind of would like the idea of the Doctor not actually liking it that much. Like, oh, I waited all this time for this to happen, and this was what it was. Something like that. Do you think Swarm is a good enough villain to ever return to fight a future Doctor? Yes, actually, I do. He gives me very Trickster vibes from Sarah Jane Adventures, which is very much a good thing. I like him a lot. He's probably my favourite villain to come out of this era. And I'm kind of sad that we haven't seen more of him. Same goes for Dan, honestly. I kind of wish Dan was staying on, but because I don't think he's had a lot of the focus this series. But then again, like, I also have been saying to people, like, as much as I love John Bishop in the role and I enjoy Dan, like, there isn't really a point for him to be there. Like, you could quite easily write him out and, like, the stories wouldn't really change. And I like Dan, but he hasn't said, I am Dan, disappointed. That, for any of you who don't know, that is a reference to my fake Doctor Who Series 13 finale I did ages ago, which I recently saw a little bump in views, which was nice. I did a fake Doctor Who episode before JXE, ahead of the curve. No, I'd like Swarm with pre-ancient Omega. Not gonna lie. You'd like it if they were, or like with. Oh yeah, no. I said it'd be funny to have a sitcom with Swarm, the Trickster, and Omega, which I think that'd be funny. I think Eddie Redmayne as the voice Doctor fits your narrative. I think he's just too much like Matt Smith, though, is the problem with Eddie Redmayne, is that he basically played the 11th Doctor already in the form of Newt Scamander, so, I don't know, maybe, but yeah. When can we see Dan Platt or something? This is the thing, I was talking about this to a friend earlier, like, it's kind of funny to me that the only thing John Bishop was allowed to say, I keep getting confused between John Bishop and Dan. It's kind of funny to me that the only thing John Bishop was allowed to say that was he was a plasterer, and we've not actually seen him plaster anything. I find that quite funny. Series 5 and 6 were very good. Series 5, I agree. Series 6 did have its issues, but I do enjoy it. But I think I'm going to wrap it up for a little bit. Thank you all for tuning in. As I said, this was a very spur-of-the-moment thing. Very much appreciate you all tuning in. Do you want the Candyman back? Yes. Unironically, yes. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you once Flux has come out, the next episode. Bye-bye.